I'll follow.
Yeah.
Why on earth do we have eyes?
Why do we have eyes?
Why do we have eyes?
Now, that's a good question. I would say because we want to eat and not be eaten.
Yes.
To protect us from the monsters and invite us to have chicken dinner.
Yes, and why just have chicken dinner? Well, wouldn't we use our mouths and ears for that sort of thing? And noses.
But ears aren't as three-dimensional as eyes.
Well, but noses are rather three-dimensional. You
Well,
can tell what direction the food's in.
Oh,
and
that's
what direction
true.
the anti-food's in.
That's directional, but I don't know if it would give you specific distances like triangulation. Yes, what can triangulate? Let's consider all the senses.
Oh, yes. All right. So, well,
Taste.
touch.
Those don't have much triangulation.
Yeah.
They have a lot of granularity.
Yes, it's true.
Right. What else? Noses. Well, now the difference between each nostril. Some idea of direction.
Well, that wouldn't really give you much of a sense of... I don't think that just gives you a sense of direction, though. It seems like the feeling of the wind would tell you which direction smells are coming from, generally.
Oh, there's a good point.
You just don't usually think about that when you're naturally...
Right. So you replace... You're combining two senses to triangulate, not for triangulation, but triangulate a direction from computer direction.
Yeah.
Noticing the way the wind's flowing through the trees as well as picking up on the smell. Okay, so that's nose, taste, mouth, touch, ears. Ears are pretty differentiated.
Yeah,
so,
they've got the direction thing down pat.
but they don't have much in the way of distance.
Well, I don't know. It seems like distortion through the air, we're usually able to tell how far away someone is based on what their voice sounds like.
Hello down there! Hello up there! You're right.
Yes.
Well, so you can, but that again is a combination of a lot of computer power. Though I suppose it takes computer power to see, you still have the basic mathematics of specific angles of.
But you have to find out what they mean first.
But your brain,
just like you do for all of your
learns
other
that across time. Right, as a baby, everything's flat screen.
Well, not really.
No, but
I don't think so.
Do babies have?
Well, they just have shorter focal vision. They usually focus around 6 to 12 inches from their face.
Okay.
You're a baby, because you want to see your mother and get all of that.
Everything
down,
that matters
know
to you is
who's
within
related
a foot,
to it.
so to speak. I can see that. But do you walk out the door of your playpen with the ability to know things are far away and close, or does that come from experience?
That's a good question. Well,
it's certainly honed by experience, because you don't know what a foot is, and eventually you then particularize it by knowing things in distance measurements, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it seems like you'd already be able to triangulate. You just wouldn't really be able to grasp exactly what it meant. So you have a point there.
Right.
The triangulation seems more automatic, and just understanding what the triangulation
you have
means.
the data, but you haven't learned to interpret it.
Yes.
So life experience gives you more rapid interpretations.
So you can tell one thing's further away than another thing, but
Uh-huh.
you can't necessarily tell how much further away.
Sort
of like how those mountains over there don't look much further away than the hills, but they're probably about 5 times as far away.
Right. And of course, as far as now there, you're beginning to move into analysis to come up with it. Yes. Because the difference in your angle that your eyes are converging on the subject is so tiny compared to what it would be.
So you just have to
look things up close.
You just have to look at the size of the trees and calculate using your conscious mind.
So going back to the baby, maybe the reason they're looking from 6 to 12 inches because that causes very extreme changes in the angle of convergence on the subject, from something right into your nose, for instance, compared to something a foot away.
And so then your point about it becoming a learned ability would make sense, because you don't have it honed very well when you're very young. And
Is this part of
the
your
older you get, the further away you can
development?
see more clearly.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Then that's it. So, but now, all right, since we kind of spread those into something that ranges from touch up through smell, hearing, and finally the sight as you go to more and more dimensional, three-dimensional perception, is there something deeper about touch or smell even? Maybe smell is at the bottom, since that's the one that brings back the most primal feelings and memories.
Well,
That smell seems to go directly to memory, whereas everything else seems to have to find its way.
I guess it seems like smell would have been the first sense that would have evolved, because...
Even before we were human.
Yes, long before we were human.
In fact, going back to the Precambrian days, Cambrian days.
Because smell is how something else reacts with you.
Right, the
And-
molecular level.
Yes, on a molecular level, so it
Yeah,
can be pretty darn small and still smell.
right. Indeed, everything
You just don't
in a sense
necessarily have a
smells.
nervous system
Right.
or anything.
So that's the
So you
most
don't have
primal,
any
and
of
it
the
would be by nature
senses.
laced into everything that grew afterward.
Yeah.
Whereas sight, being sort of the last thing on the agenda,
It's a nice toy to have, but
right, but
it doesn't...
it's the one we get the biggest kick out of, and yet it was the last one to be sort of hammered on the side of this contraption called a human.
Yeah,
That's curious.
it is.
Next time, we should go into sophisticated artifices of the human machine.
Brand.
Brain.